Hello, BookTube, and by popular demand, I am forced to continue with poets ranked by beard weight. Now we're on to a section called Romance and Lore of the Beard. Famous beards of history. Do we dare? Here follows a scoop of anecdotal trivia, rumored to have been supplied by Uxbridge Underwood to Riley Ripley of Believe It or Not fame. Gay 90s New York identical triplets differentiated themselves by trimming their beards into initials: H for Henry, T for Thomas, and V for Vernon. And Soligen Jeremy, a surplus beard harvested in the annual beard drive at the Blimfostra monastery, was installed by a veteran watchmaker as a pendulum in the grandfather clock for 270 years. It has kept perfect time. Now let's skip through a little bit here. It has been asserted on reliable authority that Lord Rokeby, 1713 to 1800, was the only bearded nobleman of his time in all Great Britain and Ireland. The beard loon is an aquatic fowl of South America, which goes into hysterics at the mere sight of a beard. Its characteristic high-pitched tooting can be heard for miles. In the 16th century Ireland, the rolling beard of Killarney is alleged to have broken free from its perch on a castle parapet and, gathering momentum like a snowball, traveled half the length of the Emerald Isle until the heat generated by ensuing friction caused it to ignite in a burst of spontaneous combustion. Turkish Sultan Selim I, 1467 to 1520, proud of the fact that he was the only ruler of Turkey to shave off his beard, prophesied that any sultan who followed his example would be the country's last. For centuries, his warning was scrupulously heeded until the throne was assumed by the beardless Mohammed VI, who was deposed in 1922, and the Sultanate was abolished forever. When Arizona Territory was under Mexican rule, itinerant prospectors reported to authorities that they had witnessed the envelopment and takeover of a town by feral beards, which had detached from their seed plots and skidded through the dusty streets like tumbleweeds. The enchanted beard of Ellesmere, when fitted to a statue, would cause the statue to fidget and twitch. There we go. The many uses of the beard. The practical adaptations and applications of the beard are many and varied. Among them, scouring pad, lint trap, absorbent sponge, nesting material for birds, pre-caput stuffing for pillows and mattresses, flotation devices, beard mass rivals cork for buoyancy, duster, filter, espionage tool. Oh, okay, disguise, I suppose. The tensile strength of a whisker is superior to that of a strand of hemp. Before the advent of steel wool, stiff-bristled beards were harvested for use in fine grit sandpapers. Gypsies formerly used whiskers instead of catgut for violin strings. Beard persecutions. Although it may seem impossible from the enlightened prospect of our own day, beards have suffered persecution, ostracism, torture, imprisonment, and other cruelties and inhumanities throughout the ages. How ironic that the very word barbarism should refer to those bearded hordes who were saints compared with their bald-chinned oppressors. We will not sully our compromise, nor compromise the high tone of this discussion sordid recapitulations of the horrors inflicted upon harmless beards. Haunted beards. Yeah. The beard that walked the moors. On a cool September evening in 1768, a man was strolling down a country lane at the edge of the Yorkshire moors. From among a thicket of fringing trees, a spectral beard materialized and hovered at chest height opposite. The spectre floated to within a few feet of the astonished wayfarer and halted, poised in midair. The beard wiggled to the left, jiggled to the right, and wiggled to the left once again. Suddenly, without warning, it slapped the wayfarer's face with a violent force. The wayfarer stood dumbstruck as the beard announced in a gruff of clearly audible voice, "Consider yourself challenged, sir. Bring your seconds and present yourself at the spot at dawn. Choice of weapons is yours." The stunned wayfarer, startled out of his wits, had never fought a duel in his life. Panicked, he broke into a run and made a dash for the high road. The beard gave chase, darting after the terrified wayfarer league upon league over hill and dale. It seemed as though the harrowing pursuit might never end until all at once the incensed beard came to a stop, trembled and convulsed, then vanished in a puff of smoke quite as suddenly as it had appeared. That was somebody who didn't have a beard. They're compensating for not having a beard, you know. The beard that stepped from a portrait. One afternoon in a salon in pre-revolutionary France, several fashionable ladies sat sipping aromatic beverages, nibbling past pastries, and chatting animatedly about everything under the sun. On a nearby mantelpiece, a slight commotion began to stir. A vase was rocking and swaying on the edge of the mantelpiece with a curious rattling noise. Almost simultaneously, another disturbance aroused at the far end of the salon. A wall sconce was bouncing in its fixture, creating an alarming racket. The ladies almost choked on their delicacies when there appeared, as if on cue, a beard, a large, unmistakable beard, which detached itself from its usual place on the face of the subject of an ancestral portrait and graced the inner wall of the salon's imposing archway. As if responding to the strains of the stirring quartet, the beard began to execute the graceful steps of a minuet, sweeping from end to end of the spacious salon with movements worthy of a swan. Hey, he's getting kind of poetic here now. The bewildered ladies gasped and gawked amid a shambles of broken teacups and biscuit crumbs as the phantom beard retired to its accustomed position on the face of the onlooking portrait, a portrait whose eyes stared vacantly at space and was nothing at all, as if nothing at all had happened. The ghost who wore a beard on the back of his head. Prisoners at the Old City Jail in Denver, Colorado, frequently complained of having to share a cell with an unwelcome guest, a singularly disquieting ghost. The gruesome phantom, who is always seen in silhouette, manifests as a split-faced monstrosity with a beard on the back of its head. As legend has it, the ghostly apparition can be seen at all hours, pacing back and forth among the corridor leading to the cells. It is said that the furry phantom is all that remains of a bearded former prisoner hanged at the jail in the jail courtyard many years before. At the hour of the execution, jailhouse historians allege the hangman, who enjoyed an excessive zeal for his profession, took special pains to oil the rope and test the trap. When the moment arrived for the prisoner to pay his debt to society, An ample demonstration of the hangman's proficiency was dramatically enacted. So drastic was the torsion exerted by the noose at the instant the condemned man dropped through the gallows floor that half his head and face were twisted diametrically opposed to the other, while the upper portion of his profile continued to face front. The lower bearded portion was twisted around the back of his neck, and the unfortunate ghost was helpless to find his way out of the world, but bumbled about in a state of perpetual disorientation, unable to tell forward from back. For this reason, Horace Greeley dubbed him the Janus Beard Ghost. The Wandering Beard of Locksley Hall. In the uplands of Wiltshire Downs, famed by formal gardens, Barony Locksley Hall sits astride a magnificent hill. The venerable manor, set amid incomparable scenery, is the very picture of residential perfection. But all is not well. Something is amiss. It is said that the ancient house has been enscarraled by a curse. The story has it that one midnight long ago, an eerie beard, all creaking fetters and rattling chains, attacked the house's residents. Lord Gladwin, never one to encourage uninvited occupants, the Lord seized an iron poker and began to madly swing away at the menacing beard, attempting to bat the intruder into the rolling flames of the hearth. Eluding swipe after swipe, the beard repeatedly outflanked the old campaigner and was about to get the better of him when the faithful family guardian, a mottled 8-year-old spaniel, came rushing to the defense of the lord and master. A veritable tussle ensued, and it was clear who had the upper hand. The outcome was still uncertain as the combatants tumbled out of the door and into the inky night. Neither canine nor beard was ever seen again, never, that is, in previous form. The villagers say that on nights when the moon is full, the blood-curdling howls of a bearded spaniel can be heard baying in lament. To this day, poachers are regularly caught in the beard traps that dot the broadlands. Beard-based controversies. Public statutes, dignitaries, or dust catchers. Objects successfully smuggled in beards include counterfeit coins, pornography, weapons, stolen candy, aphrodisiacs, contrabands, salamanders, and an anvil. An anvil? An anvil. There you go, BookTube.